This isn't going to work well.
It's fun.
I am about to light fire to my railroad and yell, "Burn, baby, burn." This is Track Smack.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? It's time for Track Smack. And now your host, just a regular guy.
Hey everybody, welcome to Track Smack. Welcome to the low energy opening. I gotta tell you something, I had this great idea for a show for today. I was gonna go through my model railroad and sort of video some of my tech stuff that I used to be proud of. And my railroad doesn't work right now. All right. And it's this chain reaction effect I'm having right now that I'm going to need your help with today, probably. Let me just tell you the quick story, and then let's go over to chat and see what you guys want to talk about. Because apparently the host has got nothing but crap this morning. It goes like this. Take notes. It's going to be lengthy. I was running my train one night. My big, long stack train. It was fun. And I was done for the night, so I parked my train, shut off my DCC, then went to work the next day, had a crappy day at work, came home, I want to run my train. So I came home, I turned on my DCC and it shorted out. Shorted out. Nothing changed from A to B, and railroad won't work right now. And so I ended up at the crux to this, all my wiring torn apart because I could not find the problem. And I'm slowly, systematically putting the wiring back together. By the way, be careful what you wish for. You want a big giant railroad with lots of wires and stuff everywhere? You better stay organized and understand if a problem develops somewhere, it could be anywhere. Who the hell knows where it is? I've traced it down, I think, to where the port is and the Brownsville yard. I think it's there. But see, then the problem moves. I fix it here and it blows up there. So I fix it there and it blows up there. I'm not having a good time with my hobby. And that led to a chain reaction of thoughts. I'll get to chat in a minute. I'm just kind of trying to see where we're going this morning. Led to a chain reaction of thoughts. You know, I love building the model. I'm having a great time doing Dowling's Orchard if you've been watching the show over there. But to be honest with you, running the trains is starting to just piss me off. I'm just going to say it. The track won't seem to stay clean for longer than a couple days, all right? So I've got to either run my track cleaning car round and round instead of doing like ops, or I got to get there with some alcohol on a rag. I got to clean the track. For no reason at all of a sudden, a car or a train starts derailing consistently at one spot of the track. Got to repair it. You buy locomotives and cars and you put them together on a train and the couplers are like this, not like this. It's just getting to the point where, I don't know, I'm supposed to be digging this deal and it's supposed to be where I go as my safe place. And right now I've got some expletives I could use if this were a different show. And so bad that I'm almost thinking of just giving up on it, to be honest with you. I am tired of this. So I'm not saying I'm quitting model railroad and I'm not trying to be a drama queen. What I am trying to tell you is, for those of you who are newer in the hobby and you look at some of the stuff that some of the other people do, it is not always rainbows and unicorns. It's certainly not today. I almost didn't want to do the show this morning because I knew I had nothing for you guys. So anyway, let's go over to chat. Boom. Hey, there you go, chat. What do you think of that as an opener? Kind of a Debbie Downer thing happening right now. Good morning, CDP 1965. Dwight Curley. Good morning, Rob Tiemann. Sparky 107 with a wrench. Hey, Sparky with the wrench. You might have to put me on timeout today because I suck. Dwayne Ernst is saying good morning. Scully River Valley. Simon Saucy. Don't be so saucy, Simon. Irishman Wolfhound is here. Jay Fiore. Joel Karma's here. Hey, so good morning, everybody. Hey, by the way, them boys over there with the wrenches and the blue names, there's a few of them. There's like 8 of them. Hey, these are my virtual rail buds over there. They are our moderators, and I was just chit-chatting with them a little bit this morning on what was I chatting with them about? Oh, this problem I'm having. And so Bob's your uncle. Hey, if you don't stay on topic, wait a minute. We need a topic. Never mind. Hey, moderators, do your thing. So, so you guys have any problems like that? Let me. I don't know what to talk about here. My whole show was stolen by the wiring problems that I have. Hey, so just moving back just a little bit. Look down there. That's Midwest Model Railroad. They sort of help sponsor the show a little bit, and they're really good people. I buy my stuff from them, and Steve Atwell and his family over there, hardcore model railroad fans, not just people selling model railroad stuff. So, hey, after today's broadcast, they may just want me to pull their logo off the show, but Bob's your uncle. There you go. So you guys over in chat, let's see what we can do with this pathetic opening to my show. Okay. First of all, keep in mind, we don't normally do a show like this. Matter of fact, I somewhat object to people doing a wah-wah show, but this is kind of a wah-wah show, isn't it? So somebody throw something at me. I'll tell you what, the reason this was hijacked is because I think the people in chat need to run the show today. I think I got nothing. You guys need to talk to me about trains. So what do we got? I'll tell you what, Irishman Wolfhound is down there, and he is saying, I use Cato Unitrack, and I've got one connection spot where one rail is higher and creates a nice click-clack sound. Never caused a derailment, so I left it alone. That doesn't help me. You know, all right, well, there you go. You know, I keep hearing more and more great stories from you Unitrack guys, by the way. Roy Smith over in Panama runs it, swears by it. Mike Pfeiffer over at Pfeiffer Hobby Supply, running Unitrack, swears by it. And I'm over here with FlexTrack. Oh, here's a good one for you. Let me go to the main cam for a second. Let me give you another example of the frustration. There's a length of the track that's where the reversing loop, the auto reverser is, because it makes a loop, and that's a short for sure. I know that one. It's been operating fine since I installed it. It's never given me a problem. And so I am like this far from the track looking for, did a piece of wire drop across the rails? Is there some metallic insect across the rails? What happened to my railroad? So I get up to the place where the rails are not connected because they're supposed to be isolated for the AR1, the auto reverser. And I could have sworn I used insulated rail joiners on it, the little plastic rail joiners. But I'm looking down. I don't see any, like at all. What's the deal? B, one of the rails is touching the other rail like that. Now, we understand expansion and contraction of rails, right? But when it's cold, they shrink. When it's hot, they grow. Well, I put that together when it was like 110 degrees in the hobby room. And I left gaps, and everything's awesome. And now it's colder, and now for some reason that rail pushed into that rail. So I took my Dremel and I just hawked through it, and didn't fix the problem. Still shorting out. So I went to the other side, and it had insulated rail joiners, but I just hacked through the track there anyway to be sure. Didn't fix the problem. So there we are right now. Hey, there's a question coming in from chat. If you guys don't mind, boom, bounce back over there. Richard Blonden is saying, can you use an AR1 with NCE? Yes, you can, and I do. The AR1 is actually independent of the DCC system you're using. Digitrax, NCE, it doesn't matter. And they're pretty simple, by the way. You take track rail A and rail B DCC wires, you plug them in on one side, on the other side, you come out and you go to your track. It doesn't matter how you switch the polarity through the unit. It doesn't matter. Because it goes, are we good? Are we not good? Do we get a short? Do we not have a short? And then it, boom, it flips it. Then you can adjust how sensitive it is. But I'm running 3 of them. Well, I was running 3 of them on the BSR. I've got one at my top loop. I've got one down by Brownsville. And then I got one at Switch Junction. And they don't give a problem. The train goes right over it. And sometimes the headlight will flicker a little bit. On the locomotive, and that's because there's a micro short that happens. So I try, excuse me, to adjust the AR1 so that it's right on the cusp, and that locomotive keeps power the entire time. It always keeps power, don't get me wrong, but I don't like to see the headlight flicker. It's not prototypical. And I am a rivet counter. Still over in chat. What do you got? What do you got? Norman Rowe with a wrench, my brother, by the way, is saying, I agree with Steve Arnold. Bite off small pieces, wire temporarily, check, go to the next. And Norman and Steve Arnold, that is kind of what I was doing on the deal. Matter of fact, when I laid the track, going all the way up behind the layout on both decks, I had the DCC on, and I would plug in the track, I would glue it down, and then I would run the train on it. And I kept doing that all the way around, putting in isolators where I wanted blocks and new feeders and stuff. And it made it easy to get her done. But the thing that it's the beauty is this is 2 long, straight pieces of track with a loop at the end. There's no curves. There's no wacky junk. I'm not going up or down a grade or something. Just flat. And it's never given me a problem until 2 weeks ago. By the way, keep that in mind. It's been about 2 weeks I've had this problem. But hey, bring the suggestions, or let's talk about something else. Jeff Allen, you are bringing a very good point into chat, and I was thinking about it. Switch back to DC. These kind of issues are what scare me away from DCC. And, switching back to DC, this takes me back to the glory days of model railroading for the regular guy. I started off with a 12-inch deep, 8-foot and 11-foot down a wall model railroad, point to point, DC. That's what I started with 3 years ago, I guess. And you know what? I got my choo-choos to run, and I built model junk on it, and I scratch-built bridges and sculpted mountains. I had a great time doing it. And then, as we evolve, I put loops at both ends. I expanded the layout, and then I moved over here, and I made a layout 7 or 8 times the size of it. And it's been fun to some degree, but I got to tell you something. It's not what it's cracked up to be, to get a bigger layout. It's not, people. So I don't know. One of the things that my friend David Popp, the executive producer at MRVP, one of the things that he has done successfully, and I should have maybe done, is he built a large layout, but he did it in small sections. It's like he had an 8-foot by 2-foot railroad that was independent. He built it, and then he's like, I want to expand. So he just extended it, built a whole new one, kind of organized and moving on. He had a pretty good sized layout in his basement at one point. He's since replaced it with another one, but it was very interesting. But one thing, I'm sorry, I digress. Let's move back over for just a moment and go back to the DCC issue. Here's the deal, people. A short is a freaking short. It would not change a thing if I went to DC. It wouldn't. So anyway, there we are. We're still over in chat. What do you guys got going off in chat? I don't even know. Cloverdale Rail with a wrench is saying, always look at the last thing you added and disconnect. 0% of the time that works. He meant to say 90%, but you are correct. I didn't add anything. I shut off my DCC, went to work, came home, turned on my DCC. It's like, meow, meow. That's all it's doing. Piece of crap. I was up late last night working on it. I spent 3 nights this week in the hobby room working on it. And I keep looking over at Dowling's orchard. I have my fruit trees. I'm going to paint the fruit on them. I'm going to plant them. I have 2-element signal and a dwarf signal to put at the tunnel entrance to where the switch junction lead joins the main. And they're going to work off the turnouts, but I'm stuck in electrical la land right now. What else you got over there? Sparky 107 with a wrench is saying circuit breakers is a must on any layout, big or small. Just changes the amount of breakers you use. Well, the next step, let's talk about wiring, shall we? The next step is to sidebar. The actual next step is to replace some of the track over there because I screwed some of it up putting in my backdrop and I super glued it in place. It was working pretty good. And then last night when I was taking my Dremel tool and trying to just cut track, I don't know. I was desperate. I was cutting my track. It's all honked up now. So I got to replace sections of it. But something that somebody told me, it was over on Dirt Guy Drive Time, one of the comments, something you guys might want to keep in mind. If you're going to build a bigger layout like I did, don't do what I did and have it all be one power block. Bad idea. I'm discovering. What I'm going to do once I get it working again and to avoid future problems, my Portsmouth, Brownsville section will be completely isolated from the rest of the railroad and go through a breaker, maybe even a switch. I can just shut the thing off if I need to. And then the section behind Switch Junction and down into Dowling's Orchard, a power block. Switch Junction, a power block. You feel me on this? So we can narrow things down when there's problems like this. And so if I have a train over here that derails and shorts out, it doesn't take down the whole system. It just takes down that power block. Right, Sparky? That's what we're talking about with the breakers. Huh? What else you got? Let's see. Mike Heath, rail can move to 1/10 or the other of flex track from expansion. I had the problem on HO layout. I use a drop of thin CA to tack the rail to a couple of ties in the middle of the section. Yeah, Mike, that's funny that the expansion contraction thing has not been a problem for me. And yet maybe it has been, and I just didn't know it. For those of you new to what we're talking about, here's the deal. If you have a model railroad in an unclimate controlled environment, in other words, it can get hotter or colder, like an unfinished basement, in my case, a garage. What will happen with anything, even the real railroads, the prototypes, is when the rails get warm or hot, they expand, they grow. It's amazing. When it gets cooler, they shrink back down. So the idea then, when you're laying your track for a model railroad, is to systematically leave gaps between the rails so they can move like this, because even on your railroad, they will move like that. And I did that, frankly. Plus, I have the added benefit of I put it together when it was really hot in there. So the rails should have been already growed and then just shrink and pull away. I don't know how this one rail ended up shoved into the other rail. I don't even know how that happened. Maybe it was an earthquake or something. We live in California for now, coming back east to see all you folks. Hey, look who's in the house. Panama. Yeah. Roy Smith is chiming in. After adding sections to my layout and realigning some tracks, I need to redo and improve my entire wiring system under the layout. Oh, Roy. Oh my God. That's horrible. And I'm only saying that because yours truly. Oh, here's another tip I'll give you. You know, you guys mind if we just stay on the chat cam and not go back to me? You guys run the show. Seriously, bro. I wouldn't lie about it. I have this thing where I'm always in a hurry, right? So when I'm adding wires to the railroad, sometimes I will temporarily twist them together and make sure it works, fully intending to come clean it up, lace it nicely, organize it. But then I just keep moving, baby. So part of the problem I had is where my DCC plugs into the wall and all the wires kind of come in there and then go to another place, whatever. I've got all these bare connections down there. I'm like, well, let's start here. So I took all the wires apart. I extended them to a wall with terminal blocks. And basically, there's no more splices under the railroad in this one section. I can stand there. I can look at them. DCC is just regular bus bars. I have a DS64, DS64, BD4, BD4. DS64, by the way, will take a DCC command and tell something to go do something. In my case, want to talk about my tech stuff? Let's talk about my tech stuff. Yeah? All right. We're going to talk about my tech stuff. I'll go back to the main cam. Boom, main cam. So here's what I got going for those of you who don't know. All right. There are sections of my layout where I've got what's called a BD4. It's a block detector that'll detect 4 independent blocks. That means when a train gets into this block, a little green LED goes on and says, "There's a train in there, bro." So I've got 2 of those. One of them controls my automated turnouts because I go from a double track main to a single track main. All right. And I don't want to switch the thing. I want it to happen. So what'll happen is the BD4 senses the train. Its output goes to the DS64, which will take buttons, switches, whatever inputs, and then output something. In this case, it takes the input from the BD4, pretending it's a push button. It's like, whoa, somebody pushed a button. There's a train on this section of the track. DS64 says, awesome sauce. Moves over and tells the turnout, align itself. And it does. And the train just runs right on through. How's that? BD4, DS64. I've got a DS64, DS64, 2 BD4s. They're working okay. I don't know what the problem is. That was fun. All right, back over to chat. Mindlessly wandering around here on the show. I think, you know what? Actually, forget chat for a second. No offense. I just thought I'd throw the announcements at you and tell you I don't have any announcements. I got nothing. Well, October 12th, I believe is a Saturday. We won't be doing a show because I got to go to work. 8 hours sitting in like a classroom environment being lectured to by the president of the company and the controller and human resources and a safety guy. Oh my golly. No show then. And tomorrow night, Sunday night, there is no Dirt Chic Unscripted here on the Track Smack channel because Cindy Brown, the first lady of everything, will be in Vegas. I will be all alone. Heck, I had this thought. Here, I'm going over to chat. I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but I had this thought where maybe we can go through this together. That's it for the announcements, by the way. Bing. Oh, other than we hit 10,000 subscribers on It's My Railroad. I have an idea I want to share with you guys. And I want you to tell me if you might be able to hang on. Okay, here's the deal. I think we need some coffee. If you guys watch Dirt Guy Drive Time, you know this is the dirt guy. I'm talking. I do that on that show. Whatever. I have a plan. Hold on. I was thinking of setting up a live stream tomorrow at some point after Cindy flies away and leaves me. Nothing fancy, nothing schmancy. Probably put the live stream on my layout where I can move the camera around. Possibly just work on the wiring with you guys. Who wants to do it? Who's in? What do you think? I'm not saying I'm going to do it because I'm in a mood, but that might be kind of cool, huh? But to tell you the truth, you got to keep something in mind. It'll be like a 4-hour live stream. I'll be down there working the whole time. And then there'll be times where I'll just walk away because I have to use the facilities or something. What do you think? I don't know. It's just a thought I thought I'd throw out there. Hey, somebody in there I just saw go by while I was on my tirade. Wow, where'd you go? Switch out that AR1. You know something, James? I took the AR1 out of the system and it's isolated. It's not a factor because I thought the same thing. I thought the AR1 went down and it didn't change anything. Oh, but speaking of the AR1, that reminds me of at one point I was putting my wires back together before I took the whole thing apart again. I was putting them back together. This was last weekend, I think. No, it was Monday. Who cares? Tell the story. So I was putting them back together one at a time, seeing where it shorted out, and didn't short out. I'm like, well, it must be an anomaly. And I even ran the train on the track in question. I'm like, cool, let's get this thing going again. And it shorted. Keep in mind, I don't have any locomotives on the track right now. It's just bare rail. Well, I got 5 plastic wheeled rail cars on it. Maybe I'll take those off. You feel me? It went away and then it came back like in this one setting. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do that, or maybe I will just buy me a 12-pack and just sit there throwing empty beer bottles at the railroad because it's got me pissed. Anyway, I may do it, and don't expect the graphics and all the get her done. I'll just be working on my railroad. I'll hang out a little bit. It might be fun. I don't know. It's a thought. Get over it. Let's see. Rob Tiemann says he'll be there, but he depends on the time. See, the beauty of it is, let's see, I'll be by myself at like 1 o'clock my time tomorrow. And I don't have to go to bed until ever. I may just stay up all night and call in sick on Monday. How's that sound? I love it. So the camera's running the whole time. It'd be like one of those live cams, like virtual rail fanning cams. What do you think of that? Where the camera just sits there, and you wait all day. By the way, another frustrating thing. You guys watch the virtual rail fan cams ever? Because I had one that was people were like in chat with it and everything. So I was at work all day, had it up on the screen. I thought it'd be cool when this train comes by in an area that I'm familiar with. Never saw a damn train. What the heck? Anyway, at least on my show, I don't know what it is. You might not see a train running, but you might see me tear out some track. You might see me get to solder. One of my cameras has a rather lengthy cord on it. And I think it's that one. It's the one up here. Here, I'll show you. You want to see my other camera? Watch this. Boom. Oh, it's not on. Stupid camera. Where'd you go? Come back. Ah! I'm sorry, it's not plugged in. I don't use it for this show. I'm so stupid right now. Anyway, so I have 2 cameras, and so I can move them around maybe. And all right, enough talking about that. Let's see. What else you got in chat? Moderators, what are we doing in chat? because we're 30 minutes into the show with no content. It's very exciting. Mike Vakcha is saying, sounds like a great idea. Then we can see what you're doing and easier to come up with thoughts, but you have electrical unit that is malfunctioning and not wiring. Well, yeah, okay, I'll take the input. And then Roy, again, down in Panama, is saying, do it, Steve, live cam. How much fun. Well, also, I don't normally model railroad fully clothed. So I might have to work on that. That might hurt you. Let's see. Hey, Terry, head plant and Terry, I don't know what's going on there, but I hope you're okay. I hope you're feeling good. Steve Arnold yells out, puppy cam. Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to use, Steve, and it didn't work. James, which way is the short? Head towards the track or towards the booster? Cut it in half and test with a meter. You know, for some reason, James, I read that and test with a hammer. Why? Is that where I'm going to test this track with a hammer? Bam! Nope, still shorts out. But that makes sense. Well, like I said, I think I've got it narrowed down. I think what we'll try to do is take the inbound coming into the module section of track. I know it's hooked on to the rest of the layout, and just run those wires solely, and actually run the train on it, see where it goes. Then the next set, then the next set, and the next set. Oh, here's another thing that makes it tough. I think we've talked about this before, but I always put the red wire towards the backdrop and the white wire towards the fascia. That way I never have to worry about, am I crossing polarity? Because in an oval, whatever, the reds are inside and that's outside. And it works really good. Except when the configuration is such that the back rail comes around, and when it comes out over here, now it's the front rail. Boom. And so I've soldered my wires on backwards. So I have to switch them. So I'm going to fix that too. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, there we are. What else, you guys? Mike Fox is saying, define fully clothed. Well, have you seen a nun? I'll look like a nun. I'll have the whole thing on, everything. A ski mask. Hey. No, that was a bad idea. I just changed my mind. Forget it. James Carroll, what? You have a piece of junk that don't run? Huh. Imagine that. Yep. Imagine that, James. I do. It happens. But like Almar is saying, a big freaking hammer fixes everything. You know, that also fixes personnel problems, by the way. A big hammer will do that. Anyway, so let me see. I've got 12 more minutes with you people, because today, Cindy Brown, the First Lady of Everything, and myself have an errand to run, and I can't go the full length of the show, which is perfect since we don't have a really awesome show going other than public service message time. Beep. Hello. Other than this. When I woke up this morning, I was just that close to making up some BS excuse why we couldn't do the show. I'm sick. I'm having tech problems. My dog ate it. Whatever. I was that close to just killing it, because I stayed up late, and, you know, I don't want to bring drama to the show. I want to bring, hey, get her done. Welcome to Railroad World. I want to bring that. But the reason I brought this topic is for two reasons, or did the show is for two reasons. First reason is this. I know that, and this all humility, there are some people that look at what I do on my railroad, first of all, and say, you're a freaking moron. You're a retard. What the hell? You're so stupid. And what's with the mohawk? All right. They're those guys, and there's nothing I can do about that. And in some cases, they might be right. But there's some other people, though, that are encouraged by what I get to do on my railroad. I know it. I get the comments. I see the emails. And that's why I do the show, to encourage people to just keep moving and make it happen. But I think there's sometimes where everything always works right. It's like a sitcom with me or whatever. It's like I take you through the drama of something got screwed up and blew up and broke or didn't work right, like the road we just did, right? But then at the end, it's like, oh, it's beautiful, it works and all that. So when that doesn't happen for other people, when they live in isolation like I do, and all you ever see is everybody's junk works out. It all works out right. It could make a person feel like, so what's wrong with me? My stuff doesn't work out. And so I wanted to talk about the fact that regardless of what you think of me as a model railroader, period, and at this point, I don't really care, unless you like me in that. I wanted to bring this side of it to chat this morning. I just want to bring this to you guys as complete transparency of what it's like to be a model railroader. All right. You've got the elite guys that never make mistakes and all the railroads work perfect all the time. They look pristine and yada, yada. Good for them. I wouldn't mind having my railroad look like theirs someday. But the reality is the way I do things, I can get a lot done, but I make mistakes. Sometimes I don't have the money to do it your way, so I grab whatever's available and do it my way, you know? And then sometimes it just doesn't work well. And here we go. So that's one of the things I wanted to do, but also to remind all of us in the moment that this show is not about me. Never has been. If it was about me, I'd do a lot more marketing, a lot more graphic stuff. I'd really try to go, hey, everybody in the world, watch the show. But it's not about that. It never has been. It's my railroad flirts with that here and there, especially with our new style of what we're doing, the evolution you see happening over there, but not this show. This is about this right here. I'll show you. That's what this show's about. You guys show up here every week and you're talking to me and we're hanging out together, and the moderators and I hang out together a little bit through the week, but you guys are hanging out with each other. You guys get here like an hour before the show starts and you just hang out. You know, I know Sparky has his live stream, Sparky 107 with the Rich. People show up and they hang out. Right. So for me to say I don't have any good content, so I won't do the show is crap. That makes it all about me instead of being about you guys. And it's about you guys. So anyway, that's my little PSA, my little public service announcement. And hopefully you know just how sincere I am, how genuine I am about that. I told the wife last night, I'm not doing the show tomorrow. I'm not. And we agreed that I can't just cancel it because I'm having a bad day. It's not about me. So anyway, there you go. Boom. Back over to the chat. What else we got? I boomed. You guys are cheering me up already. Somebody boom. Throw me a bunch of booms in chat. Let's boom, boom, boom together as a team. Let's see. Dave BNSF in scale. Make a block to fit a gondola. 1/2 red, 1/2 white. Instant track polarity car. And when you're done, put the block in a rhetoric drawer. You know, so, oh, here come the booms, baby. You know something, Dave? I'm going to have to do that, I think, at this point. With all the twists and turns, and sometimes I'm tired, and sometimes I'm looking at it backwards, better to put the car on the track and go, I know that's the red, I know that's the white, and then just push the car anywhere on the track and maybe discover, what the heck? I wired it backwards. What a moron. Oh, least favorite parts of the hobby. Laying track, wiring track, cleaning track. Matter of fact, if it involves track, it's my least favorite part, other than a train running on it. So there you go. What else you got over there? James Carroll, Steve, the way to fix that is stay away from the crap. Avoid at all costs. James, I have no idea what you're talking about, but give me a boom. Give me a shout out. Give me the boom. Oh, Jack is in agreement. Polarity car will tell you everything. I love it. I love it. All right. So listen, I don't want the show to end. What else do you guys want to talk about? Oh, Chris Birchfield, don't forget soldering. Yeah, you had to make my day even better by bringing up soldering. Thank you very much. Actually, little note on soldering while we're at it. I had an old clunky soldering iron, and oh no, it wasn't old. It was just kind of oversized for the task. This is hysterical. And I could never get my soldering to go right. It was always globby, blobby. It took forever to melt the solder, and I was melting railroad ties. At one point, Cindy and I were at Hobby Lobby. I was talking about I need a new soldering iron. And she looks at the soldering iron in the little section we were at. She goes, "Is that what you want?" And I'm like, "Babe, I can't get a Hobby Lobby soldering iron. I mean, come on. Who does that? I mean, I got to get like the pristine Chinggis one or something." And I was looking at that, because this, I don't see anything wrong with this, actually. So I bought it. And I went home and plugged it in. It's got a little fine point on it, gets nice and hot. I have the resin and the solder, and my soldering suddenly, not so much of a problem anymore. I just solder. Boom, solder. Boom, 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 boom. I actually soldered some incredibly small wires to a strip of LEDs that I mounted inside my engine switching structure thing. Oh, by the way, now that MRVP is finished with the State Line Kit Bash Challenge, I might want to show you guys a little bit more about my structure, because time constraints, they couldn't show us everything. But I got some cool LED lighting inside. I'm really proud of it. And they pulled that off. So anyway, we'll see, maybe. What else we got going on in chat? Flyboy 2610 is saying something. The right tool always makes the job easier. And you know, that's so true. Anywhere, on anything you're doing. I was changing out a hose bib downstairs, and I had two pairs of channel locks, a big pair and a little pair. They weren't the right tools. I needed a crescent wrench, pipe wrench, something, so I didn't have to. I ended up putting a spall on the damn thing. I didn't have the right tools. And then soldering, not having the right soldering iron, not such a great idea. Cutting your track with dikes, diagonal side cutting pliers, versus rail nippers. Big difference in what it does. One just sort of is the version. One's the snip and everything's beautiful version. Stuff like that. In all cases, I like to use a screw gun and drywall screws to assemble wood and stuff. I don't like to use hammers and nails, but there comes a point where the screw gun is not the right tool to do it, right? There comes a point where the nail and the hammer are not the right tool. Anyway, I'm just throwing all that out there. Let's see. Shannon Tapia is bailing out. I'm off, guys. Big day tomorrow. Take care, Steve. Don't focus on why the cup is half empty. Focus on why it's half full. And no matter what, there was always a seduction to any problem. Oh, solution. My bad. Yeah. Enough whining. I think you're helping me get through. This is good therapy. I love this community. Here we are. Jay Norton is saying, I bought a copper dish scrubby at the supermarket. Cost $1.69 for a package of 2. It is absolutely the best thing ever to keep the tip of the soldering iron clean. Much better than a wet sponge. Jay Norton, son of a gun. See, that's a regular guy thing right there. Because I know I need something to do the deal, right? With the soldering iron, where you do that when you're done with it. And I was going to order like the official one online or something, and I just keep forgetting to do it. But why can't you just use one of those little Chinggis that you're talking about that you can just buy at the market? You can probably get the dollar store. What have I been thinking? That may be the best tip I've heard in the last 5 minutes. Jay Norton, hats off to you, sir. I'm doing it. I'm going to. I hope I remember that you're the one that turned me onto it. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like a bad guy. What else you got going down in there? Jeff's Trains, LOL, my Klein dikes have cut everything. And guess what, Jeff? I have Klein dikes too. And when I started in model railroading, that's what I was cutting my track with. And you know, by the way, if that's what you have, then use it. To all you model railroad people out there, if you don't have the cool little rail nippers like I do, use the dikes. Some people will use a Dremel tool. to do it. But you have to be careful. If you go too fast, it'll grab the rail, pull it right off the ties. Boom! It sucks. You end up with a electrical problem. Rob Tiemann, mojo for everyone. More mojo, baby. Make it happen, baby. Let's see. Jay Norton, old Army Security Agency repair tech trick. Army Security Agency. What? You a Black Ops guy? Are you? I don't know. Oh, make sure it's metal and not shiny plastic. Thank you, Ralph. Wouldn't that suck? You get like a plastic scrubby thing to clean your soldering iron and without thinking, and you stick your soldering iron in there and it just... All right. Joel Karma is using dikes. Amazing stuff. Hey, even with dikes, the back of the dikes, like the V is here, and then that's the back. Face that towards the piece you want to keep. There's a reason for that. Because the other side, it's going to kind of squish it. That side, it's a little more of a clean cut. Still need a file. I got files. I always file. File away. And, well, Joel Karma's checking in saying my mini files are a gift from God. Well, I got to tell you, you people are a gift from God. You notice a change in my countenance from the beginning to the end. You people are awesome sauce, and I appreciate you today putting up with me, keeping the show moving without me, and next week maybe we'll even have a real topic to talk about. Anyway, that's about all the time we have today. Thanks for joining us here on the show. Thanks for everybody hanging out and chat, cheering up a brother. Thank you to the moderators for sticking with a loser no matter what. And thanks for being here on Track Smack. My name is Steve Brown. Until the next time we meet, rail on, my friends.